Welcome back, YouTubers. It's been a bit. Haven't been working on this car particularly. This time around, I'm going to be switching from the AEM Series 2 to the Infinity, the 506H for the RB26, obviously. But while I do that, I'm going to be working on several things. I have to wire in the turbo speed sensor and also the fuel pressure sensor. I've installed the fuel pressure sensor a while back, just haven't wired it in because I didn't have anything that needed that at the moment. But now I want to, with a new fuel setup, I want to make sure everything that this computer can do, it has at least. So got a lot of depinning and repinning I'm gonna have to do to the accessory harness, but hopefully that goes smoothly. Might be a longer video or several part video because I do have the CWC alternator kit with the 140 amp alternator. I'm excited to put that on because my battery takes too much of a load from the system right now with the FAL fans and the system that I have in here. So I want to make sure it's getting the power that it's needed to run this car. But I will show you what I have on the table over here and we'll get started. Got my buddy Rod in here doing work. So, already opened this stuff up. Got the AEM Infinity, real nice piece. It's like waterproof casing. Got the connector. I'm guessing this goes to my computer when you program it, or I'm not sure which one's which, but got the mini B 5-pin with the USB also. Have the alternator kit right here. We'll have to take this pulley off and put the CWC on there, which is back here. CWC from Platinum Racing Products. I bought some wire because I'm not trying to run individual wires. I'm going to use the shielded pair and just put some loom over it. Should be good to go. Got my new crimper kit or crimper tool, and my other one sucks, but this one comes with some dies. The one that's on it already is what I'll be needing. And I got some plugs. This is actually for something else, but I do have one for the speed sensor. And go back over to the car. Show you my wiring mess. I never actually finalized anything in here because I've been playing with it and changing stuff. Oops, unlock this girl. But other than, I mean, it runs right now. Had no problem running and driving it. But I have a lot of stuff going on here because extra sensors, O2, oil pressure, boost. That's what's on the gauge, on the dash, sorry. So definitely I have the plug and play harness that I will be using for this, but I have all these labeled because I have a meth kit in the back, and so I'll definitely have to change some stuff over to the accessory harness and make sure everything's good to go here. But still got some wiring to do for the alarm once everything's running right. But I do have the ETS Pro in here and the methanol control kit right here. So hopefully I get that dialed in because there is not E85 local to me, but it's an hour-and-a-half drive. But I would like to run methanol in its place when I do not have E85. So let's get going. I'm gonna unplug the harness off of this and see. Got that one taken out. Seriously, it's been almost 3.5 months since I touched this car from the first half of this video. But I'm jumping back in from where I left off there, so you'll see that little white wire, that security wire that I showed you in this video. I've ran one for over there at the turbo speed sensor, and then one's gonna go to this fuel pressure sensor right here. Move that out of the way. Gotta pin that in. I think it's got a connector. I'm not sure if I gotta pin it or just solder it in. But anywho, I'm gonna loom those and then rerun them and wire them in so that I can start messing with the pinouts in here. And I gotta watch out when I keep this car closed. Birds must be getting in here. But so yeah, I got these two cables ran, and I'm gonna wire loom these and get those pins soldered in. Here's the one for the turbo sensor on the other side, and then I'll have to pin these out for power and signal and ground. So no biggie on that part. But what else do I gotta do here? Is these pins for, I think these are the pins for the turbo side. So anywho, I'm gonna pull these back out and get these loomed up and rerun them the same route that I took on putting them in through right now for a test fit. Day number 3, I guess, on wiring this. So I got a lot of the accessories, or like map sensor, IAT, flex fuel, all like pinned out and removed from the old part of the harness to C3 of the Infinity. But I just spent like a couple hours trying to find my oil pressure 5-volt sensor from my gauge, from the Yugo, I believe, or it's an AEM series gauge. But I was gonna pin that into the C3 harness on the Infinity, but I could not find where it routed. So I seen it going over the airbag, so I'm like, I gotta take the whole dash apart. So I just finished taking the whole dash apart, right? And let me show you where this damn wire was. Look at this mess. I just took everything apart, and it's gonna be fun snapping it all back together. But anywho, I was looking for this gauge for oil pressure so I could put that into the Infinity, and like I said, I could see it. It's hard to tell, but I could see it going in there underneath the airbag area, like wound up in there. But you can see it better through here, but it's just hard to see underneath, I guess you could see. Let's see. They all went under or over the airbag there. So anyway, I was trying to source that wire, and it ended up being right here. You see that little blue wire in the middle right there? All this work for nothing. You know how hard it is to mess with this dash. So anyway, back to the wiring. I got almost everything that I need pinned out on my accessory harness. I do got to do some soldering here, but I'm gonna run 2 more wires, the one for the oil pressure that I just showed you, and this other wire. I need to solder my trigger wire back for my methanol kit, and I'm also gonna give a signal from my methanol kit to the ECU. I don't know how I can use that, but I'll figure it out. I'd rather run it and have it over here just in case I could pin it in for something. So this wire will come across and come to this area also. But I guess I'll get that ran and I'll get back to you. But yeah, this is how it looks so far. It will all be cleaned up, obviously. But patch harness here. But it's going pretty smoothly. Just this took a little bit longer than I thought. I thought it was this one, but that's the O2, which I do not need since I am going to something else, and I'll show you right now. Hold up. So I picked up a BTI gauge. So this is just your standard, just a little standard guy right there. The fits into the gauge pod, and I bought another gauge pod. There it is, and it'll go on to my pillar bar, whichever one it is. I believe it's this one. So I'll figure out where I'm gonna put that bad boy on there, and it'll be right there. So I can hook that sensor into the CAN port, and I'll get whatever readings I want. So turbo speed sensor, air fuel ratio, whatever, but I'm keeping my air fuel ratio O2 wideband on the dash so that I can utilize that for other parameters. So what that means is I have to I actually bought a harness that goes straight into the AEM and another sensor. So this sensor plugs into this harness directly, and it goes to the AEM. So I can get reading to my ECU, and I still will have my other reading over there. But that's for two sensors. I know that sounds silly, but one will be directly for the ECU, and that's also a good thing to do for me, so that I could say, you know, compare those two, like what it's reading on the dash versus what it's reading on my computer. That'll just give me a second check for, like, if the sensor's going bad, or, you know, some parameters are off or whatever. But I think it'll be good. But look at this mess, I'm telling you, pain in the butt. So I got some more stuff to do. Like I said, had to wire loom this just to make sure I had the proper pinning out and wires, because I had to track them back into the harness. I did pretty much label everything minus the flex fuel sensor down there on my wiring scheme. So I forgot to do this one, so I had to locate this guy, but I can plug this one back in. Get in there. Come on, baby. There you go. And like I said, I ran sensor wires for the turbo sensor, which is down here, going across the front inconspicuously, and then my flex fuel sensor, this one right here, ran this guy. So much stuff going on in here, and dust, a lot of dust. But it'll all tighten up once I get everything wired properly. So check back with me shortly, which is now. And I'm back. So here's what I got going on for the C3 harness. I got everything labeled right now because it's a wiring mess, but I'm gonna try to loom it as good as I can all the way up to the old harness where the patch harness goes to. They call this one C1, and this one is C3 for the accessories. Anywho, pretty much used all the inputs that I could. I actually put my methanol kit with this green wire right here. Is going to be a switch option for a fail-safe to reduce timing, or pull timing, sorry. And I'm gonna actually probably have to go into the harness, because I noticed that the unused pins don't seem to be in here, so that are available for the 6H, the Infinity 506 6H, or the 6, sorry. So I'm gonna probably have to pop this open and put use a available switch input, which there are some on the wiring sheet, but I can't find them on this harness. And obviously you see how many wires do not come into this, so they're not using all the available pins on this. They only use some of them, which is kind of weird, I guess. But so they do provide extra pins for this, so I will have to patch in and put what I want is for a clutch switch, so I can do wide open throttle shift when I get into that area of expertise of doing so. So I'll probably just add one more wire, because pretty much everything's on here, good to go. And yeah, that's where I'm at. So I'm probably gonna get this where'd it go? Somewhere right here in my mess. There it is. So I'm gonna get this all plugged in and ready to go, and then probably get this all loomed up really nicely and clean up some of the wiring right there. Cool. Check back with you shortly. Got them in there, so I managed to get them all in there. They're really tight, but I got everything pinned except number 8, which is 12-volt source. Should already have my 12 volts lined up on everything else, but I think this is good. I'm gonna push this little bushing in and go from there. Back with an update. So I am done doing the harness. There is a wire that I do want to add, like I talked about the clutch for wide open throttle shift. I am out of pins for the accessory, but there is one available for the VTC. I think it's for the RB25, but it's a low side switch that I need to tap into, and I do not have a pin for the harness on the, it's a 113, I believe it was one of these right here, one of the open pins. That is, I think it's that one right there in the middle. So 113, I think it's 5 over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, the one right there. So I need to get a pin for that, because I don't have any that I have found yet. But I'm gonna run the clutch switch over. I have ran the BTI gauge. I actually put the dash back together, so that's a plus. What else have I done? So all this harness will be tightened up once I get done with sorting everything. But show you my gauge here. So there's the new BTI gauge. And what, oh, I changed out this ducting. Mine was cracked and I had one, so while I had the dash out, or not out, just undone, I replaced this one. This one was cracked right there. It wasn't leaking, but I had bought it, might as well use it, right? I have that BTI done. I have a second O2 to put on for the wideband, so that the AEM Infinity can control that one, and I could still use my gauges on the dash for just O2 monitoring, and I don't have to use the BTI for this one, but it'd be good for checking out like I was stating earlier. So that's probably where I'm going to put it, right there. See the color through that thin dust layer. So I have to run that. I have the harness right there. It's not super long. I was actually planning on putting it down low underneath the car, but this harness will not reach. It's not that long. So it'll be good for that area. Run through the dash here into the ECU harness. What else? I still have to do the alternator upgrade. This one's a phase 2. It's not even that old. I think I have like 300 miles total on it. I will be pulling that off. That's a R32 direct replacement, so if anybody needs one, I'll probably be posting that one up for sale. It's just not enough for all my system as stated in the video or videos earlier. But yeah, it's coming together. A lot of the hard parts are done. Just need to test it and whatnot before I start tucking the wires away and whatnot. So making good progress though. Jump back to another update. Got the car in the air. Got to figure out the best way to pull the alternator out so I can put the 140 amp. I figured it's best to go ahead and remove my downpipe so that I could unwrap. I have more stainless steel zip ties, so I'm going to put it right around here, just about 2 inches away upstream from this one. So I'll unwrap it and then rewrap it and trace the hole out so it kind of looks like that, give it a better aesthetic look. But I definitely got to drop this downpipe down, so I'm gonna have to disconnect it down there and up here, pull it off, cut the hole. I'm gonna try to mark it before I bring it down so I know exactly where I want it, and then get that done. But this is currently where I'm at the moment. Had to use my come along, use it off the dyno, and I had my I welded in some tow hooks. I already took it off because I know I'd hit my knee on it, but put that on, come along, it up onto my little spacer boards because my car's really low, and then I was able to pick up the car. I mean, that's stuff you don't really need to know, but that's how I get it in the air because I'm by myself. Went ahead and marked my spot. Got these real nice step bits that I've never used, so I'm gonna use this one and step it down to what I need for my new O2 bung. Go right there. It's got the little lip on it. Suggest these because they'll kind of like at least sit close to what you need, and you could tack them in, and then, I mean, you could use the regular ones, but a little bit more easier. I've already pre-punched it right here. I know you can't see, but hopefully it doesn't walk on me. Had to jump to the big one. That little one was not cutting that well, but I'm almost there. This guy is doing the trick. Can't go super hot or fast because it gets hot. I don't want to ruin these bits. Let's see. Maybe one more. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think one more or two more. Try that again. Let's see. So I finally got this hole drilled. Should be to size. I'm going to go ahead and clean up with a flapper style sandpaper disc, 4.5 inch, and prep the surface for my O2 bung. If I could get this plug unbit. Can't really do nothing on the inside, but good enough, right? Good enough for government work. And then that should snap in it. Oop, I'll pick that up. Let me get a little hammer. I'm gonna go ahead and tap this on here. Since it's on a bend and everything, it's not gonna sit, you know, flush in there, but it should be good to go. It's not all the way down everywhere, but on the tops and the bottoms it is. So, like I said, it's on a bend, but it's all right. Let's get this tacked in. Got too hot on this first tack, but put a little pinhole. Anywho, now I'll go ahead and throw a nice bead around it. My welds may not look the best, but they work for what I need. Gonna do the pulley install for the PRP on the GTO alternator that I'm swapping to. Looks pretty easy to take off, just reverse as normal. Ooh, real easy. Take that little guy off, put our littler guy on. Snap it back on. Forward. There we go. Now I can install it. I am complete with the second O2 bung and wideband install. I ran it through the firewall. I've completed installing the 140 amp Pontiac GTO alternator with the CWC. If you could see it right there, it's a black piece that looks cleaner. Now my belt fit with a little bit of tugging because it was already pretty tight. I had, you know, different pulleys on mine from the actually this pulley for the water pump, so it calls for a different style belt, but I was able to manage. The only thing that I'm curious if you could see down there, gosh, it's not this thing, I guess. View here. That bolt that comes through to the alternator on the top, yeah, there's like probably like a 1/16 of an inch. Now everything should be true running on this water pump pulley, so I shouldn't have any scraping, but that bolt's a little too long. So this came in the kit, and the other one's way longer, so I got 2 bolts, and yeah, that one's a little bit close for comfort. I wanted to trim it, but I don't see a problem if it doesn't rub. But I also put a lock washer that it wasn't provided to try to space it. If I did not do that, it would have definitely hit, because that lock washer is thicker than the gap on the pulley for the water pump to that bolt in. But anywho, it's installed properly. It's good to go. Hopefully I have no issues with that. Like I said, I ran it through the firewall. I do have to wire loom that little loom onto this piece right here. That's minor. I got scared because I came out this morning and noticed that I had oil leaking, but I remember, move out of the way. I remember pulling
on one of the hoses on accident, so it broke it free, and all I had to do was just tighten it up on the oil cooler I have down here. Sorry. So this one was leaking right there where it was welded again, but yeah, it stopped leaking. And this is my boost control wire that I have to connect somewhere over here. Oh, right there. So that goes to that. I just left it unplugged until I get low boost all controlled. And into here, still wired looms all over the place, but I have the wideband connected. I have the patch harness connected and ready to go on to the Infinity. And I have my Infinity right here, so I will get the plug in. But yeah, everything's connected like it should be, and I did double check everything, so it should be good to go. Plug it in and get to calibrating. But also something that's new, I put this dash mat. I'm not a fan of dash mats, don't get me wrong, but when you have a dash that's kind of cracked up, kind of looks more tacky. But I was able to do a pretty decent install, run my gauges through that are on the dash, and bolt them through, or sorry, screw them through the dash mat, and able to let it sit pretty nicely. So I did put a piece of wire loom to the loom cables. Some of them are in pairs, so I just wanted them in singles, so you could see that. And go to the other side. But this mat looks pretty decent. Like I said, it's pretty decent. I've got these gauges in, and I'm ready to calibrate. Long time coming, guys. Or I want to set up all my parameters that I put on here, everything that's marked. Got meth error, meth output, speed sensor, and then like I said, 113. This is all wet because I was laying on it. So 113 is my clutch switch. I gotta figure out how to program that one. So what is this? Vehicle speed. Oh yeah, the last tuner I had said that there was wrong with my 53 vehicle speed sensor, the VSS, but actually it was continuity to the speed sensor, and my gauge worked fine. So there's probably something wrong in the V2 C113 or C2 113 off of the old harness. I pinned in my clutch switch, which is normally open, I think. Wait, so yeah, I pinned in my clutch switch, so I'll have to find out how to calibrate that. But yeah, that's where it's a load side switch 6 for a V-tec, or a V-tec, thinking my Honda VTC solenoid, for basically a RB25, but it's on C1-3 and C2-113. So that's where I put that clutch switch. So let me go grab my laptop and get this bad boy plugged in. It took me a while to get through the process of registering my hardware and I kept getting failed files when I was downloading the AEM tuner version and the data. So I had partial files and I was trying to work off of those, and I was just messing up. So I got everything ready to go. I cannot, hold on, let me get back to the screen. I cannot do the, what you call it, the wizard for ignition, because I have to take out my spark plugs So basically I gotta take out, let me go here, I'll show you. I gotta go ahead and take out the coil and plug system, you know, the R35 kit that I got. So I gotta remove the whole top, pull those out so that I can turn it over with a lot of RPM speed to get a good timing sync. So I'm gonna hold off on that today and kind of wrap up what I got going on this video, and then I'll get back with you on initial startup. Might take a minute because I'm learning this software. It's a lot of rating and a lot of tabs, way more than the version 2 AEM. So, but I do have everything working, kinda. Might have a bad oil temperature sensor, but I still need to try to calibrate some items and make sure switches are turned on for certain sensors that I got. So, ooh, there's a little bug, but yeah, I'm gonna wrap up and close out this video, and stay tuned.